Thank you so much, the viewers, for following this discussion that we are having with Mr. Hesbon Kiura. Mr. Hesbon Kiura is the Assistant Commissioner of Cooperative Development Department. That is the State Department. So the gentleman seated here is a self-servant, is earning from the government, in having been the Deputy Commissioner or Assistant Commissioner. That means you get the opportunity to sit in high meetings that are causing influence and changes in the government and how things are working. Before we took the break, we were talking about the coffee, and you were just mentioning how maybe the taste, we don't know the taste, that maybe the people who are taking coffee abroad they like and so on. We don't know the taste, or we don't really have the experience. My question would be, we release our MPs here. Every now and again, they go to China or where for some benchmarking and so on. Why is it that we would say we don't know the taste? Why don't we know the taste? What are they going to do there? And we are living in a situation that every now and again, you'll always hear the tea farmers, they were having this debt, the body was having this debt, they've been bailed out by the government and so on. What are we not getting right? What is the reason why we are failing? What is the reason? Because for me, that is not a reason. Us not knowing the taste is not a reason, because we should get to know that taste. That is why people go for benchmarking, or if that's not the thing, what do they go to do? What are they benchmarking on?
Yeah, maybe I would answer it on the other side, looking at the market. Okay. Because what we provide to the market is what people want. So when we grow our coffee, and the market that we are targeting there, the market that actually, when we are growing the coffee deliver, is when you deliver to the miller. The miller now from there prepares the beans. So this is the person who knows where to deliver, because we don't export that coffee. We don't do the value addition, because the moment we take it, we deliver to the miller, the coffee is now, for example, taken to the coffee exchange for auction, and all those people who want to buy coffee, they come there. So we have not got what we call direct, although cooperatives, some of them have tried to venture into direct market, whereby you have a partnership with a consumer there who can come directly buy your coffee, but not very many that have succeeded. So cooperatives themselves, because of the nature of the way the product is, that's why we have not been able to venture into those coffee markets. So we have to depend on what is sold here. But I want to say that cooperatives we have done, especially in the recent past, the government has done well. Coffee is now at 100 shillings and 120, and compared to other years when it was around 30, 40 shillings. So we as a government, in the recent past, we have done a lot. And we have done a lot in the coffee reforms, and the cooperatives have embraced that. So at least we have been in a position to ensure the growers at least get something. But where we can be is only when we do value additions. We have a few, like Kenya Coffee Cooperative Exporters Limited. That is a cooperative here. It is doing its own value addition. It has chic coffee. It is in the shelves, but it cannot sell a lot because they are also for the local market. So they are also exporting coffee beans in the same way. So the market out there is what is the challenge. Actually, it's not even, there is very little you'll do even if you go there, because you cannot influence those people who are there to buy your coffee. But at the moment, if we can have direct sales, people coming directly, they go buy the coffee, will earn more in foreign exchange.
Okay. Just before you leave that,
yes,
I would want to ask you, you say that maybe you've not really got the gist of the market that is doing. Now let me ask, who is not doing his work at the end of the day? Because should the government be the person who is going out there to get us the market is doing, or who should be doing that? Who should be doing that?
Robert, market coffee, remember, is a multinational product like oil.
Yeah.
And the companies, multinationals that do the coffee business, it is not just like any other business you go in. These ones have been there for quite a very long time. For you, you may enter that market, but I want to tell you, you may not sell. Because the marketing channel is actually streamlined toward that direction. So the coffee has to be bought from the coffee auction. The government has actually, there are no all those restrictions because you can go buy that coffee there. So the government has done what it takes to ensure that even advertisement, we have even our other missions and the rest, they have done about what we have the coffee. But you find the consumers have a certain trend. So if they know their shop, that's where they go. So for the multinationals to their shops. So it becomes very difficult for us to penetrate. But we have done a lot to advertise and to ensure the people know our produce and how best. In fact, our coffee is used to blend other brands out there. Yeah. So you find even our coffee is not really known. But once it goes to Germany, it now becomes something else in German. Once it goes to US, it's no longer the Kenyan coffee because ours is quality. But we have not managed to penetrate those markets because of the multinationals and the monopoly. And you know the monopolistic powers that are normally enjoyed by a farm when it is possibly a monopolist or oligopolist in itself.
As you're watching this particular discussion and Mr. Kiura is trying to explain why maybe you have not really gotten the gist of the market there and so on, I would highly request and beg you to go check the trade show link. There's a show we did sometimes back with Mr. Nini, Zephaniah Party, and he also tried and explained this one very, very clearly. Yeah? Now, Mr. Kiura, that is coffee, right? We are having milk here. Yeah. Now, I don't know why, I don't know the explanation that we'll get for milk, because if you look at milk today, the farmer who is the person who is keeping the animal, with all the expenses that they go through, they will sell a liter at maybe 30 bob, 37 bob, thereabout. This milk, when it goes to the supermarket, we'll buy it from the ATMs at around 65 or 70, 75 thereabout. And from the supermarket, around 65 thereabout, you come to these other people, they will sell it around 75 or thereabout, or 80 thereabout. You look at the processed milk, goes at half a liter goes at 50, 60, 70 bob, 70 shillings. Why haven't we created good market for milk so that a farmer who is going through the expenses of getting the feeds and all that, they get something at the end of the day? Why is that not happening then?
Thank you very much. That's a very good question. Dairy farming, unlike any other livestock farming, what is affecting us is the price of feeds. Even if you are given 50 shillings as at that liter, 1 liter, if your feeds are subsidized, you still make profit. You find like countries like Uganda, the feeds are zero rated, they don't have VAT, and others. If you go to where we get most of our products for the feeds, they are not expensive. So if our government can subsidize, even if it is zero rating, what the feeds that we are making, so that our manufacturers can have low costs. They also ensure the electricity for production is also low. You'll find the farmer at then, even if you are getting 50 shillings, or 35 per liter, because the production cost has been lowered, we will stand to benefit. And many people, in fact, will have more now engaging. Even our young people, they will now go to farming business. But right now, they cannot afford. For your information, a bag now, for example, of feeds is 3,400 for growers. So how many will afford that? So you'll find, and that is one bag. But if that was brought to a limit, maybe 1,000 shillings, you'll actually have our young people engaging in poultry keeping, in dairy farming, and now we would be talking of self-employment. But as long as we keep those things up there, we will not create an employment down there.
And we will still go down the same road.
And we will remain depressed, as you said. Okay. In fact, we are there.
We are there?
Yes, because I cannot afford. I want to keep something that will give me. But if our young people cannot afford this, okay, assume somebody even in the rural areas is earning 400 shillings. But the cost of a bag of feeding that whatever, even one chicken, is 3,000. How many fertilizer now is not affordable? 6,000.
just holding it there. Bwana Kiura, you see why I really feel you are the best person for this particular discussion is that you are the Deputy Commissioner of Cooperative, yeah, in that file, and therefore I feel like your opinion really matters when you sit on board meetings, right? You've talked of the high cost of production, maybe for also maybe farm products when someone is going into agriculture and so on. Comparing Kenya and just Uganda that you mentioned, the cost of fertilizer, a bag, in Tanzania is roughly less than 4,000. In this country, it's close to 7,000 because it's 6,000 and above. You look at the democracy that we're having and so on. Tanzania, Uganda is really, if you can compare with Kenya, we are doing fairly good in terms of even development and so on, right? And right now, so many people are suffering out of food. And just today, as I mentioned at the beginning of this discussion, the government spokesperson just mentioned that they're going to start donating food. The Kenya Red Cross Society, they have been working with 100% helping people in the northeastern region, but now they have reduced to 50%. That means the other 50%, they're not providing for them. They're giving them money, 3,000. 3,000 cannot take you for a month if you are living even in those areas where you are not paying rent. But 3,000 can't take you for even a month. But they're being given 3,000 maybe a month or after some time. Now, I want to understand from you, Kenya being agriculturally based, and agriculture is the backbone of this economy, we are already doing bad with that, and agriculture itself is really suffering because if the cost of production for dairy is high and even for farms are very high, and we are using the language of the Governor Nanok of Turkana. Yesterday he was having an interview and mentioned that in his statistics that has not been verified, that this country will lose 800,000 people every year who are graduating. Only 200,000 people are getting job placement. Yeah. Now that means we are left with 600,000 people with no job. They can't go into agriculture, which is the backbone of the economy. You seated here is the Deputy Commissioner of such a high-rank office. And you are the people who should be fighting for these people, because in cooperative, you are the people who should be fighting. When you say the government, you're the people who should be representing these societies to the government, telling the government, you see what, this is what is happening. This is where you should be acting. This is how we should be doing things on the same. What have the cooperatives done to help?
Yes, that's a very good question. Cooperatives, we have developed a policy that will ensure cooperatives grow from where we are. And as we are seeing, with the policy looks at strengthening the capacity for cooperatives. We are looking at those marketing cooperatives in the future to start exporting fertilizers so that the fertilizers that they export from those countries can also be cheaper. This is the only way they can address that. Right now, the Minister of Agriculture is the one that has the responsibility, and is also giving, like now we have the new KPCU, through cooperatives, it's giving subsidized fertilizers. But there is a challenge, farmers, you hear, unless you sell through the KPCU, you may not get the subsidized fertilizers. So the government has put these measures to ensure that at least the cooperatives, we normally say they become competitive. But nevertheless, we are not reaching the bigger market. Those are very few. We are not. But the bottom line is the taxation that has been imposed. And taxation is not a matter of cooperatives. It is a matter that is elsewhere. So this is the matter that can be looked at. How best can we address our tax systems? And once we address the tax systems, we see how we can levy money. Of course, I know that's where I get salary from, without hurting the goose that will lay the golden eggs. Then we will be there. So coming to the graduates that we are releasing, actually they should not have the mind that they will be employed. With entrepreneurial skills, somebody should be in a position to think, what can you do even when you are not employed? Because when you went to school and you learned what you learned, you are not told that after you graduate, after I get my PhD, that I will now start teaching in the university. That job might not be there. But I wanted to practice my entrepreneurial skills, to do something small that will give me income. You can do that. For example, if you allow me, Robert,
Yes.
I'm a poultry farmer. I do a very small business. I keep 700 or 1,000 chicks. And those chicks, after 5 months, if I sell 700 eggs and 20 shillings per egg per day, if you calculate that, at the end of the month, I have my 300,000. I don't need to come here and bog you in giving me lessons to do that. So even our young people, they can start small. And we have financial institutions which would want to grow with them. We have also insurance companies that will come to insure them against the risks. So even with little as 5,000, even with the poultry, you can start. And that's
Looking at this particular camera, your camera over here, I wanted to ask you, and please talk to the audience on the same, just in less than a minute, yeah? Just telling them how you can work with 5,000 in poultry. I like the maths that you did for me. Even though we tried calling the lady that was giving us the verification, say that she sold the 18 chickens and got 8,000. Christine, yeah. So that was to confirm, and definitely I would want to let the viewers know that prior to this discussion, we were trying to run some proof to what you are saying, and I would want to say that she confirmed, though not to the limit that we expected, because we expected to see at least plus 10,000 and above, but she made 8,000, which still made a profit in her calculation. Talk to them, starting small in business, so that they don't look for job. Yeah.